Kayo'y nakikinig sa CDRC Podcast. Makibalita at alamin ang mahalagang impormasyon tungkol sa climate change, disaster preparedness at pagpapatatag ng ating komunidad. Makinig, makialam, maging handa.
Magandang araw! Welcome sa isa na namang episode ng CDRC Video Podcast kung saan tinatalakay natin ang mga issue na may kinalaman sa community-based disaster management. Sa Pilipinas, ang mga civil society organizations ay patuloy na humaharap sa mga hamon na nagiging banta sa kanilang organisasyon at sa kanilang mga fundamental na demokratikong prinsipyo. Ayon sa Amnesty International, lumiliit ang civic space sa bansa. Patuloy na nalilimitahan ang demokratikong espasyo at impluwensya para sa mga CSOs, tulad ng paghigpit sa mga legal na rekwisitos para sa regulasyon at malalang paglabag sa karapatang pantao ng mga development workers na nagsasagawa ng mga programa para sa pag-unlad, kalayaan, pagkakapantay-pantay at hustisya. Sa episode na ito ng CDRC Video Podcast, tatalakayin natin ang nararanasang red tagging at harassment ng Citizens Disaster Response Network o CDRN. Kasama natin ngayon ang Executive Director ng Leyte Center for Development o LCDE at ang Chairperson ng CDRN at isa sa 10 kababaihang pinarangalan ng UNDRR, si Miss Minet Aguisanda. Magandang araw po, Miss Minet.
Magandang araw sa lahat. Welcome. And also hello to our international partners who might be listening. Yeah, magandang araw.
Ayan, Miss Minet, maraming salamat po sa pagpapa-unlock, no? Kahit alam po namin na napakaabala ninyo, lalo na po at kakatapos lamang nating gunitain ang anibersaryo ng Super Typhoon Yolanda. Bago po natin, Miss Minet, pag-usapan yung ating mismong topic para sa araw na ito, pwede po bang makapag-share kayo kung kumusta naman po ang ating mga kababayan dyan 8 taon matapos po ang Super Typhoon Yolanda?
Well, for us sa LCD, kasi we have been implementing the RR programs in this region, the 6 provinces of Samar and Leyte, for the past 33 years. Kasi we started in 1988. So I can say that poor people have become poorer after Typhoon Yolanda. Remember that when Typhoon Yolanda hit us, many people, mostly 80% of the people in Eastern Visayas were already poor, barely surviving below the poverty line. And you can just imagine the impact hitting on communities very poor decades ago. So ngayon, I can say that people are poorer, exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. No, there's an economic crisis going on worldwide. So ang natatamaan ang mga poor and vulnerable communities. No, hindi talaga sila nakabangon. Did you know that before November 8, 2013, before Typhoon Yolanda hit us, Leyte was the 2nd largest coconut producing province in the Philippines. And all the coconuts were damaged by Typhoon Yolanda. And it takes 8 years before a coconut can be productive again. So ma-imagine natin ang impact sa livelihoods ng mga tao, very dependent on coconuts for livelihood.
Opo, kaya po napakalaki po ng impact, no? Hanggang ngayon talagang hindi pa tuluyang nakaka-recover ang ating mga kababayan sa Region 8 dahil sa Typhoon Yolanda. Miss Minet, paano naman po nakatulong ang LCDE sa mga kababayan po natin na survivors ng Super Typhoon Yolanda?
Yes, so ang headquarters, main office ng Leyte Center for Development right here in Palo, Leyte, very close to Tacloban, less than 10 kilometers away from Tacloban. So yung nakita nyo sa TV, what happened to Tacloban also happened to us. Yung headquarters namin, yung staff house, kasi we are in a 1-hectare compound owned by LCD. We lost everything. Our roofs were ripped off. The steel trusses, with the strength of Typhoon Yolanda na rip off, pati steel trusses, we were left with nothing except our lives. At least buhay kami lahat and our families. So at that time, we wanted to evacuate, pack our bags and leave. Parang bye-bye Leyte, no? Kasi it was so enticing to just leave, just like many other NGOs here in Leyte did. They went to Manila and Cebu, no? Pero we decided to stay on kasi we knew there were many thousands, even millions of people who were far worse off than us. So this was a test of commitment. So ako and my team of 13 people, we didn't abandon ship. We stayed on kahit gaano kahirap, no running water, no kuryente for 4 months, maraming looting. We didn't have a roof above our heads kasi even if you had money, all the stores were closed within 500-kilometer heavily damaged radius of Yolanda. We had to do with plastic sheets. Hindi yung plastic sheets na blue, na pang tent, yung plastic na pang cover ng libro. Kasi that was what we had supposedly for our mangrove nursery in Southern Leyte. Buti na lang, hindi pa namin na-distribute. That's why we still had it stocked up here. And all our generator got busted kasi the roof crashed on our generator and our food supply. So it was devastation. It was, I would tell our foreign partners, it was like a scene out of a science fiction end of the world movie. Alam niyo yon? No, the trees had no leaves and you could, as far it was like a desert after the wind subsided. Anyway, we had to gather our strength and courage and stay on. We did DNCA on ourselves. Damage needs capacities assessment, di ba? We always do that in the affected communities. We had to do it on ourselves to assess what we could do, who would stay, who had to go, ganon, who was willing to work. And all of the team decided to stay. Kaya we were able, our success story, of course, with the help of our partner, CDRC, and our foreign partners, and also the other CDRN members who deployed staff, who lent us trucks, no? And our foreign partners from Germany, from Korea, Japan, we were able to launch our first food distribution barely 6 days after the typhoon. And we were so devastated, so rugged, but we did the first distribution. And we worked on and on, of course, with, as I said, our partners, CDRC, CDRN members, and our foreign partners. We did food and shelter kit distribution. And at the end of 4 months, we were able to serve 23,000 families. That is at least more than 150,000 individuals from 11 municipalities, from several communities, I think more than 70 barangays, all along the heavily damaged radius of Typhoon Yolanda. How we did it? I was asked, I was interviewed kahapon by Rappler, by Inday Espina Varona. She asked me, how did you do it? 13 lang kayo, I was the 14th. I said, through the help of our volunteers and partners, we did social preparation like CDRN always does. No, only that it was more challenging with the roads, impossible, but we did it. So we were able to serve as far as Albuena, Leyte, and in Samar, as far as Hernani, Eastern Samar, and almost all the towns in between those Eastern Samar and Leyte towns. We had to muster all our courage. We lost a lot, no, down to the last camera, all our computers, lahat, but our partners gave us generator, computers so that we could work. But I would say what was really broken among us was emotionally and psychologically. How we did it? We worked. Kasi sabi ng isang psychiatrist, one of the best therapies is just go on working and you will see that helping those who are worse off than you are help psychologically. And it did work. So kaya nga we got an award from NEDA as most outstanding volunteer organization, and ako most outstanding volunteer leader given by NEDA and the Philippine National Volunteers association 2 years after Typhoon Yolanda. So yun, I would say that we were fearful at first, but I always say that fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And we rose with the help of our partners, pero mas internal yon, because we had the courage, we had the commitment to serve. So yun, 23,000 families in 4 months. And then we embarked on early recovery, giving livelihoods for the next years after Yolanda, trying to support government efforts in getting back people's livelihoods. So yun, it was tough. I would say even until now, LCDE is 33 years kasi we started in 1988. But even for me, Yolanda was our toughest challenge in all the 33 years. That because why? For me personally, that was the only time I was thinking of resigning from the organization in 2013. Pero I didn't. I just thought about it. Siyempre, there's always struggle.
Yeah. Opo, talaga naman pong wala halos makapaniwala sa nangyari ng Super Typhoon Yolanda, at talaga rin naman kahanga-hanga yung ginawa ng LCDE sa tulong nga po ng CDRN para nga po makabangon at makapagsilbi pa rin sa mga mamamayan na kailangan talaga ng tulong noon. And even after Typhoon Yolanda, patuloy pa rin po ang LCDE at ang CDRN sa kanyang gawain sa community-based disaster management. Kaya nga po, mapunta po tayo, Miss Minet, dito po talaga sa mismong topic natin, na nito lang pong mga nakaraang linggo or nakaraang buwan, ay may nangyari na may nagprotesta di umano sa harap ng inyong opisina. At inirereklamo ang LCDE dahil sa mga iba't ibang di umano'y mga illegal na gawain. Pwede po bang ikwento ninyo, Miss Minet, kung ano po yung nangyari noong panahon na yun?
Pero before that, Hannah, please allow me to share kasi yesterday, yung interview with Rappler, they asked me to give an ending statement after Typhoon Yolanda, 8 years after Typhoon Yolanda. So my ending statement went this way. The road to total recovery and resilience is still far off because there is not much political will from our government of officials, especially those in the national. We are struggling for climate justice. And we saw that nung Typhoon Yolanda, the efforts, ang daming nakatiwangwang na pabahay, and the NHA and the local government units are passing on the ball. Why? Tiwangwang. First, there's no water, no electricity. Higit sa lahat, malayo sa livelihoods. The livelihoods are so far, they have to spend 150 pesos per day. No, so so our stand in LCDE regarding that is you don't pull people out of the no-build zone kasi may no-build zone. No-build zone is anti-poor unless you have a comprehensive livelihood recovery program in another area where we want to transfer the people. So the best we can do now is capacitate the endangered communities on DRR, but they will be prepared and can do preemptive evacuation. That's the most we can do now. Forcing them to go out is really anti-poor. Second, tide embankment. They built a huge dam, parang embankment to trap the water para ma-control yung storm surge. But scientists from UP Los Baños had a study na it traps the water instead. So kami sa NGOs dito in Leyte, we are pushing for natural resilience. Imbis na infrastructure, like building a tide embankment na puro semento, why not plant mangroves? Siyempre, there's more money in infrastructure, di ba? So some people are making money. So anyway, natuloy din, no? It's done ang tide embankment. So very frustrating. So what I can say is the road to total resilience is still long and tough. We have to organize a mass movement of people, different sectors, who will work towards achieving climate justice. So yun, 8 years after Yolanda, and the road is still far ahead. Ang dark pa, the tunnel is still dark, and we want to be here as beacons,
Opo,
as
salamat
light.
Miss Minet.
What we
Napakaganda po
always
nung
do.
sinabi nyo na yun. No? Very inspiring din po. Pero sa kabilang banda, pinapakita nyo rin po yung katotohanan sa paano nga ba hinaharap ng gobyerno pagbangon ng mga mamamayan na nasalanta ng bagyong Yolanda. So Miss Minet, mabalik po tayo dun sa nangyaring insidente sa opisina ninyo ng red tagging at harassment. Maaari niyo po bang ikwento sa amin kung ano po yung mga nangyari nung araw na yun?
So yes, so last September 21, on the commemoration of martial law, there was a group who came to our office outside our gates here in Barangay Libertad, Palo, Leyte, and they staged a rally. There were more streamers than there were people. Siguro some empty. Pero 2 days before that, we already received information from friends in the media, friends in the community, that on September 21, some farmers are going to your office to stage a rally. And of course, alam namin kung sino ang nag-instigate. No? It's not the farmers. No? We knew kasi the farmers called us na they are being forced to join the rally. Transportation will be provided for, and they were being asked one representative per family from those barangays in Carigara, Leyte, which we helped years before Yolanda and even after Yolanda with the Yakoni and of course CDRC. So, but I cannot divulge the names of the farmer beneficiaries who let us know. Syempre sila ang babalikan ng mga, so we were prepared. A day before, I coordinated with our Vice Mayor of Law, who sent the police, the local police, PNP Palo, to ensure our safety. And I informed the barangay officials. So we were prepared. And when they came, there were 1 or 2 spokespersons who had a megaphone, pero hindi nga sila nag-coordinate sa LGU Palo and sa local barangay officials of that activity. And may pandemic pa. And some were not having the health protocols. They had trucks. Who could rent trucks at this stage? No, trucks talaga, 3 truck. And the police palo discovered that they were covering the plate numbers of the trucks. So why would you cover the plate numbers of the trucks if you're not hiding anything? And the trucks were parked a few meters away from our office. So why would you park when we join naman rallies? We make sure our vehicles are as near as possible para we can easily board them pagtapos na ang activity. So it was really very dubious, and our volunteers talked to some and they didn't even know why the objective of the rally, and you could see na walang passion, and some people in the background, plain clothes, were directing the whole event. No, so I remember one colleague, sabi niya, ito yung paraan, they call it mirroring, following the activities of their enemy. No? So kung ang militant groups nagrarally, hindi man tayo militant nga hindi kami nagjo-join ng political rallies, so kami ang niralihan. So their placards, yung content ng placards nila ay latest center for deception instead of development, and the usual terorista, komunista, kawatan, meaning robbing them out of money from the people, from the beneficiaries. And they even mentioned the Yakoni. Kaya I wrote the Yakoni, informing them that they are part. No, the smear campaign also mentions the Yakoni. I don't think, sabi ko, grabe naman ang bobo ng intelligence, no? They don't know the Yakoni is in Germany. So kasali yung diakony. So it was the first time that pero it's okay. We're okay kasi we know naman who are the initiators. It's not our farmer beneficiaries, and we validated this from the communities itself and our friends in the media. Of course, I won't mention what media kasi sila din ang babalikan ng yon. So we handled it, I think we handled it pretty well. No, we're okay. Hindi kami no. In fact, we realized all the more our role, and we asserted kasi right after that rally, it only lasted mga 45 minutes when they saw us asking the media people covering the event to come inside our gates. Nag-disperse na sila like bula. So yun, walang hangin. So the media who were present, siguro mga 8 media outlets, I also aired our side. I said those are impostors, no, and they are trying to smear our good image in the community where we are based. And I said, we know who is behind all these, trying to destroy us in the barangay where we are based. And of course, we know this because long before this rally, noong September 21, we already saw the posts and the webinars of those who initiated. Siyempre, yung AFP. We already, I watched the webinars. So we're not totally ignorant of what they're saying against us. Pero we were silent. No? We didn't give it much thought. Pero itong rally, noong September 21, we had to say something. I had to say something to the media to defend ourselves. I told the media, we have been silent for so long, since 2019, even before 2019, we didn't say anything. Even if we saw the posts, we heard in the webinar our name, and even Diakony and even CDRC, no, they were insinuating us, connecting us with the terrorists. I never said anything. But now I have to speak out because this is too much. Not that I'm scared, sabi ko, but we are just asserting our legitimacy and our track record. Furthermore, I told our media friends yung context ng LCDE, our track record of service. Sabi ko, I don't need to be defensive because our track record will speak for itself. We have been recipients of many government awards, from DSWD to NEDA, and higit sa lahat, from the Department of National Defense in 2007, the Gawad Kalasag Award given to the most outstanding NGO in humanitarian aid and disaster preparedness in the whole Philippines. DND, Secretary Teodoro and President Arroyo gave the award in 2007. And many other regional recognitions from the government. And since 1988, for the past 30 years, no, I'm just sharing the context, no, we've been partnering with LGUs from the regional level, provincial, municipal, and barangay. We never go to an area without the cooperation of the LGU. And the LGU appreciates us. No LGU has ever turned us down since 1988. So we are very thankful din sa mga mayors, sa governors, down to the barangay kapitans, officials who have been so accommodating with our DRR programs, our relief aid. And we're also, like CDRC, members of NAPSI since 2007. It's tough to get in NAPSI, and also the Regional Development Council, RDC, in our region, because one has to be nominated by a government, 2 government agencies. But we did. We were RDC officers since, they call it PSRs, private sector representatives in the RDC, since 1994. Can you imagine? And proof that we want to support the government in poverty alleviation. And I always say this in press, we just had a press conference 2 weeks ago. I always say this, we want to support the government because we believe poverty can be solved by private sector and government cooperating with each other. And we give people options. Don't these state forces repressing us or threatening us see this. We give people options rather than joining the rebels. We give them, oh, eto ang rice mill, ang treasure, ang kalabaw, the motorboat. We give cash for work. Grams. That's how we support you threaten us, you harass us, and we are Filipino taxpayer. I am a taxpayer, and we pay for the salaries of those in government, even the state forces. We pay for your guns, your ammunition. How dare you do this to us? And contribute to your benefits, to your sueldo. Yeah, and we will do this. No, if you ask me, has this affected us? Of course not. Our track record, as I say, we are proud of our track record. We are accountable for our actions. You can ask the communities we serve. You can ask the mayors where we did programs throughout summer and later. We have a clean track record. And in fact, as I said earlier, we had government recognitions, no, by various government agencies. So we don't deserve this. We are complementing government efforts. So we stand firm. This will not harass us or intimidate us. In fact, it drives us more to prove our point and be better servants of the poor and vulnerable communities. We are here not because of government. We are here because we want to serve the poor and the vulnerable who need us in this situation.
Oo, maraming salamat, Miss Minet.
Yes.
No? Talagang
So,
nakakagalit naman talaga yung ginawa nila sa LCDE, no? Dahil sa haba-haba ng panahon na nagserbisyo ang LCDE sa region ninyo at nakipagtulungan sa napakaraming government agencies, ay ito nga ang isusukli nila sa inyong napakagandang pagsiserbisyo. Bukod po, Miss Minet, sa LCDE na experience na ito, nararanasan din po ba ito ng ibang members ng CDRN o meron po bang mga iba pang insidente na katulad nito sa ibang lugar sa Pilipinas?
Yes, as chair of CDRN, this year, there are two firsts sa CDRN, yung Molotov bomb and the rally. Kasi this is not what they usually do, no? What they usually do and what we experience are trumped up murder charges, criminal charges, sometimes ina-abduct, and worst of all is murder, like what they did to Willem a few years ago, our executive director in Central Luzon, the Allied Bayan Incorporated. Pero this is different. Different form. So, anong sabi ko, I think they're exploring new forms kasi they have all the money, they have the billions in their coffers to explore. Imagine, in our case, merong tarpaulin and it's expensive to print a tarpaulin and rent trucks. And then, in the past decade, in the past 10 years, we saw increasing harassment, intimidation sa humanitarian workers tayo. Kasi in the past, it was more than 10 years ago, it was mostly the political organizations. But now, especially in the last 3 years, we saw this increasing threats from trumped up murder charges. I had a trumped up murder charge a few years ago, and our members in Panay and Mindanao, CDRN members, had murder charges. And of course, the usual harassment of being approached in a public place, no? And then you see tarpaulins, like just last year, I saw posters of myself with alleged terrorists. No, they made an effort to print on glossy paper these stickers they stuck it on the trees, no, near our office. And sa ibang regions din in Northern Luzon, they would see sacks, no, smearing the name of our NGO partner. In Northern Luzon. In Mindanao, grabe din, no? We know that our NGO partners, Miss Fee and Direct, who help in educating the indigenous peoples, are also subject to harassment in various forms. So as I always tell our CDRN members, we have to be strong because we know we are on the right side. As Sister Mary John Manansan always said, we have to be relevant. And remember, the Roman Catholic Church grew with the sacrifice of the martyrs. No, so it's getting worse the past 3 years. So, and the list, syempre, the list that came out na involving CDRC and many other humanitarian NGOs, including us. It was leaked to us, diba, sa media. I think, as I always tell CDRN, what what they want to do, what they want to achieve, no, yung mga pasista, is to strike fear into our minds. That's the first thing. If they achieve that, they don't even have to lift an arm, a hand against us, no, physically, or do. They would have achieved something if they strike fear and then we resign or run abroad. No? Stop. Yeah, but it's still not a guarantee. So let's not give them the benefit of having achieved by freezing our minds, no? Freezing our brains into fear, make us cower into fear. So if you ask me, kami and my team who's deployed in Samar, patuloy lang kami implementing our DRR programs. And one factor is the support of the LGU and the people in the communities. Alam niyo sa project namin, the LGU, specifically MDRRMO, I'm so thankful with the MDRRMOs. They always come with us sa area, maski monitoring. So that's how the partnership has grown. And of course, we also have partners sa academe. And they offer their services. Even when we pull out of the area, they offer monitoring services. So that's what we have to be good at. Networking sa government, networking sa academe and other sectors, and isolate the few handful who threaten us.
Opo, talagang hindi madali ang pinagdadaanan ng LCDE at ng CDRN dahil nga sa kabi-kabilang red tagging at harassment na nararanasan ito, no? Pero napakita po natin na hinaharap natin ito sa pamamagitan ng pagpapatuloy ng ating mga ginagawa, pagpapatuloy sa pagseserbisyo sa mga vulnerableng komunidad, no? Kaya naman, nito nga pong nakaraang buwan din ay kinilala si Miss Minet bilang isa sa 10 mga kababaihan na kinikilala ng UNDRR. At ito actually pangalawang award na ni Miss Minet, no, na international award. Dahil noong 2017, kinilala din siya bilang International Climate Heroine. At ang pinakahuli nga ay itong pagkilala mula sa UNDRR. No? Tuwang-tuwa actually ang CDRC at ang CDRN sa pagkilalang ito kay Miss Minet. Kaya Miss Minet, baka pwede pong i-share nyo din sa amin tungkol po saan itong pagkilalang ito at ano po ang ibig sabihin nito para sa LCDE, para sa CDRN at sa mga humanitarian workers sa buong Pilipinas.
Yes. So let me share, no, it was just last October 13 na I got nominated to yung United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Women Leadership Awards. So entries were sent from 22 countries, including the Philippines. I think close to 700 applied, but 153 were chosen as official nominees. Out of the 153, I wasn't hopeful na kasi ang dami-daming magagaling na women leaders. Out of the 153, they only chose top 10. I was the only one from the Philippines, although there were other Filipinas who were also nominated. I was the only one sa 10 from Philippines. The others were from Bangladesh, India, Japan, Malaysia, ganun, Pakistan. So yun, yung mga kasamahan ko sa top 10, they were mga PhD. Ako lang yata ang hindi. Some have written a book, you know, maganon, high up. Pero anyway, I was glad because my take there was sharing community-based disaster management and organizing our strategy in CDRC and CDRN. So the advantage of the award is that we are going to be invited to be members of the UNDRR, and then we get a chance to speak, to be invited in webinars, and then when it's possible, so face-to-face, we get a chance to share and be speakers in conferences and webinars for women. So for this first few months, it's going to be virtual, but eventually we can get to go abroad and speak about our advocacies and challenges, as well as our weaknesses, so that others may learn from our failures. Kaya nga, even a while ago at 11 this morning, I spoke in one of the webinars of UNDRR, kasi that was part of the recognition that we get a chance. What it means to me, it means being able to project our issues, the issues of our people, what we need and what we are doing currently to help ourselves and empower poor and vulnerable communities, particularly women. This is the second award. Yung first international award ko actually was in 2017. As you mentioned, it was the International Climate Heroine Award. It was also a worldwide, not only 22 countries, more than 30 countries joined, and then they chose top 12 from among the countries of Africa, US, South America, but they only chose one to come to Europe and speak in behalf of the 11 women. So I got the chance. They chose me among the 12. We were only 2 from Asia, ako from Philippines and one other woman from Vietnam. So in 2017, in November, I got the chance to speak in Germany, to schools, to the German media, to international NGOs in Germany, and of course, our donor, Diakoni. I went to them. And I also spoke in Belgium, in Brussels, and in the Netherlands. More than the chance to go there was, as I said earlier, what this means to me, it means being able to project our issues in the international community. Kasi to let them know our situation, share our achievements and failures, and hopefully get support, not only materially, but other forms of support like pressuring the Philippine embassy in their countries, signing a petition to in terms of not harassing our communities, and we did that before. So now it's a global campaign kasi our, how do I call this? Our enemy is global. Diba? We are fighting for climate justice, and it is corporate greed for profit that is our main enemy. So now it's very significant, this CDRC podcast, because UN COP26 is ongoing in Scotland. No? And our Philippine delegation there says that they are blabbering, yung mga world leaders, but when you come to think of it, people are suffering every day. So we really have to push forward our advocacies, and I believe that a worldwide mass movement of people aware about fighting for climate justice has to be organized. There's already an organization, no? Worldwide. We just have to consolidate and expand this worldwide network to fight a common enemy, which is corporate greed, sucking the blood of our people, especially in the poor countries. No, we have to let our people know how this corporate greed internationally, in the guise of trade liberalization, is exploiting us. We have to be good at linking local issues like yung sa palay, ang mura na ng the price of palay is so cheap, and connecting this to the global crisis and trade liberalization, for example lang yon. So yes, we have to do that in this lifetime. As I said sa Rappler, I'm doing this not for me, but for the future. Even if I don't live to see that day, at least I would have contributed through my efforts and my organization. That's why I always say we have to be in an organization, because we can fight for our rights better if we belong to an organized group. So even press conferences, they ask me, so ma'am, ano ang panawagan mo? So I always say, please organize, join an organized group, because our voices are better heard by those in power if we are in an organized group. Kaya nga, I am in LCDE, I am in CDRN, because I have a stronger voice.
Maraming salamat, Miss Minet, no? Pinapakita lang nito na Kahit na nangyayari itong red tagging at harassment, ito ang ginagawa sa inyo, sa LCDE, sa CDRN at sa CDRC. Pero sa kabilang banda, matapos lamang ang ilang linggo, matapos yung ginawang pagrarally sa harap ng opisina nyo at akusahan kayo na kayo ay mga terorista, nakita natin kung paano naman kayo kinilala ng international community at pinapatunayan lamang nito na wasto ang ginagawa ng LCDE at ng mga humanitarian workers dito sa Pilipinas. No? Miss Minet, bago tayo matapos, any last words po para sa mga nanonood po sa ating video podcast?
So usually, yung panawagan ko sa community man or sa middle sector na mag-organisa. We have to join organized groups so that our voices will be better heard. We all have to work to achieve resilient communities through community-based disaster management and in fighting for climate justice. Kung wala kayong organized group, search and kailangan maging educated tayo. May internet naman. You can always read about climate change and destruction to the environment. We must identify the root causes of our vulnerabilities, because only by identifying the root causes of our vulnerabilities can we truly achieve a just and humane society, communities that are disaster resilient. So that's the only way. So yun, we have to, no matter how tough it gets, we have to go on. Kasi I always say, you know, at this point, we are in the same storm, but not on the same boat. Why? Kasi iba yung boat ng rich, iba yung boat natin na poor. So let's strive to be on the same boat eventually. And in parting, no matter how dark the times are now, especially here in the Philippines, dark, not literally, but figuratively, I always say, there is always light. We just have to be brave enough to look for that light, or we have to be brave enough to be that light. So yun, maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat din po, Miss Minet, sa pagpapa-unlock ninyo bilang maging guest speaker namin sa video podcast na ito. Nakita natin sa episode na ito na ipinagpapatuloy ng CDRN ang mahalagang gawain nito sa kabila ng kinakaharap nitong mga hamon. Patuloy itong nakikiisa sa mga kapwa CSOs at mamamayang Pilipino kailanman at saan man may pagkakataon. Bawat paglabag sa karapatang pantao ng gobyerno, kabilang ang kampanya nitong magpatupad ng mga batas at pulisiyang lalong magpapasikip sa civic space ay dapat tutulan. Sinusuportahan ng CDRN ang bawat hakbang tungo sa katarungan at pagpapanagot sa mga lumalabag sa karapatang pantao. Higit sa lahat, kaisa ang CDRC at CDRN sa laban ng mamamayang Pilipino para sa ating mga karapatan. Maraming salamat sa panonood sa episode na ito ng CDRC Video Podcast. Huwag po ninyong kalimutang i-like ang aming Facebook page at mag-subscribe sa aming YouTube channel para mapanood ninyo ang ating mga susunod pang episodes. Magandang hapon, ako po si Hana at ito muli ang CDRC Video Podcast.
Bisitahin niyo po kami sa facebook.com/cdrc1984, sa twitter.com/cdrc1984, at sa www.cdrc-phil.com.